Hi, and welcome back to Ask the inFlow Experts. My name is Laya from the Success team, and today we'll be discussing the various product types in inFlow and how you can create them. To begin with, I am on our homepage, and there's two ways you can create a new product. To start off with, on your sidebar here, if you hit the gigantic plus, it'll take you to almost a shortcut menu where you can essentially create anything directly from here, and you can hit the plus again to create a product. The other way of doing this is going to the actual product screen and then hitting the new right here. This then takes us to the different type of products available in inFlow. To start off with, we have the stock product, which is the most common, as you can see. If you want to track physical inventory in inFlow, it's also going to be the default option that we have. For a stock product, you can essentially show the quantities, you can track inventory by location, and you can update your stock levels automatically when you either receive new products, buy new products, or transfer your stock. If you're going to do stock counts, a stock product is essentially the ideal option for you. So let's just go ahead now, and before I start creating one of everything so you can see the options, we can then go into what a serialized product is, because both serial products and lot tracking products are essentially stock products to begin with. It's just one extra step that you'll need to do. So for serialized products, what essentially happens here is we'll need to hit enable serial tracking. Now, a serialized product would be something like electronics or a medical device, or even equipment where you have a warranty that you might need to track or help with support. So with serial tracking, it's similar to an actual stock product. The only difference here will be that every single item will now have a serial number attached to it. So it gives you that end-to-end traceability, because your serial numbers will be received, they'll be in your actual inventory, and then they can then be sold, and you'll be able to see exactly what happened from receiving to actually selling, and everything that happened in between with all of your inventory movement. Now, your next option is enabling lot numbers. Now, this particular option is still in beta. It's one of our most requested options. But yeah, essentially, if you happen to be someone who either manufactures or receives products that are created in batches or lots, this is going to be for you. Once again, it's still going to be a stock product, but it does enable lot tracking, or batch tracking. So if you do need that particular service, if you're part of the food and beverage industry, cosmetics, supplements, medical devices, pharmaceuticals, all of them do again have batch numbers or lot numbers, and some of them will also have expiry dates. So you can create a lot tracked item without an expiry date, and just track the actual lots or batches. Or if your items do have expiry dates, you can go ahead and track that also just by hitting this little option here. So this way, you can have a stock product that is going to be lot tracked and expiry tracked. If you do happen to have a serialized product that also happens to have lots and expiry, you can go ahead and add all of this here and create one complex product where you will have to track the lot number, the serial number, the expiry date in all your transactions. So we like to make sure that all of this information is going to be there. It's going to be a little bit of work. You can also scan this using GS1 barcodes or GS1 style barcodes, but you essentially now have the ability to do all of this from within inFlow. Now that we're done with this, let's go to the next type of product that we have in inFlow, which is going to be your non-stocked product. Now, like the exact opposite of a stocked product where you're going to be tracking quantities. The important thing about a non-stock product is you're not tracking quantities. You can still assign costs and prices if you would like, but ideally you don't care about quantity. So a good example of this would be office supplies. Let's say you buy a box of 100 pencils and you don't necessarily care who or how many run out. You just need to know that you have pencils in stock. This is where something like this will happen, or it will be useful. The other option would be if you're packing material and you have a bunch of paper that you just buy, packing paper, you buy it in packages. You don't necessarily care about how many papers you're using per shipment. Then again, it'll be ideal as a non-stock product. Then you can still technically say, you did use packing paper in this particular item, but you don't need to track exactly how many you used. And finally, we have a service item. Now, a service item is very specifically similar to a non-stock product. You're not going to be tracking the actual quantity of this item. However, you are tracking it to add cost to a sales order specifically. So let's say, if you have labor charges, you have installation fees, you have a consulting fee, but you want to add all of that to your sales order and or your invoice. This is essentially where this will come in the form of a service product. So hopefully this makes all of this a little bit simpler to explain. Now, one other little caveat here to keep in mind is if you are manufacturing a product, ideally if it's not going to be something that you create a serial number for, or you are checking lots for, which again you can do, you'll first have to create a stock product. If it's going to be a serialized manufacturing product, you'll do this, and then if it's going to be a lot track product, you'll again use this option. But you'll have to first create the finished good as a stocked item and then open the actual product, go into the bill of materials, and then add in your components. And all of your components again can be stocked items, serial tracked items, serial and lot tracked items, just lot tracked items, just expiry and lot tracked items, a non-stocked item, or a service item. So all of this essentially just depends on your specific workflow and how you like to create all of your items, depending on what's the most important thing you need to do. Now, that's a lot of information I threw at you. However, since we're still on this page right now, one way to easily see these different types of items is if you hit the product type here and you just want to see all of your stocked items, you'll see all of that here. Now, if you just want to see your non-stocked items, if you have any, you'll see that here. If you only want to see service type items, once again, you get the point. Similarly, with the bill of materials, you're going to be able to see here like so. And as I was mentioning earlier, it's still going to be a stocked item, but then once you hit the manufacturing tab, this is where your bill of materials actually lives. So I'm not going to go over this in detail, but yeah, if you want to see your items that have serial tracking or lot tracking, this is essentially where you do it. And most importantly, if you are someone who deactivates products often and you want to see your list of deactivated, this is where you'll see it. Now that we're finally done with this, I'm going to show you one new option that existed or has recently-ish been created, which is you can now convert your items if you need to. Now, we don't necessarily always recommend doing this. We would always say, run out of your stock. If you need to change your product type, our suggestion usually is finish all of your stock. Once you go down to zero stock, then deactivate the item and create a new item. But let's assume you've gone down to zero stock here. What you can do is essentially hit more, change product type, and from here, if you want this particular item to be serial tracked, it'll essentially deactivate this existing item and then create a new one for you that'll be serial tracked. Now, once again, if you have stock, we don't recommend it, but it's your business and your choices. Just keep these are just guided, good guides that we like to have in place, because maintaining your inventory and your inventory count is super important to us, considering we're an inventory software. But yeah, if you have any questions or you'd like us to discuss something more in detail, please feel free to like this video, subscribe, do all of the YouTube things, and leave a comment letting us know what you'd like to see, because at the moment we just go off of what our customers like to see, what comes up in onboarding calls, or what comes up in support questions more often to create these videos. So yeah, your help as always is truly appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a good day.